Hey folks, welcome back to the Horde. So, the police are here again. Seems that I've been parking too many all-terrain vehicles all over the place. So a few things. Well, let's forget about this one. I think it's finally to the point where it's dead. So it's somewhere around 1:30. I don't know how well you guys could see that. Bring the inside, maybe the dark is better. Yeah, somewhere around 1:30. It is 4/21, Tuesday. I just opened the doors. It's about 60 degrees. It's probably a little warmer than that. I was asked about what this whole solar gig was in the house. It's basically 4 pieces. There's this Sunforce charge controller. You can see 7 amps maximum. You can see the Sunforce up there. You can see the green lights on. That means the battery is completely charged. If I were to measure the voltage on the battery, it'd be somewhere around 13.8. It's float charging. When the red light's on, that means the voltage is somewhere around 13 or less, and there's actually some charge going from the solar cells to the battery. So this is one piece that Energizer battery in the background. It's one of those marine batteries. It's never done anything for a living except sit there and get charged. And then I have up in that window, you can't see him very well, but behind the glass there's 2 Harbor Freight solar panels. It was part of a 3-panel kit, 15 watts per panel. It was a 45 watt kit, so 2 panels up there gives me 30 watts, which is about 3 amps, which is only half of what that Sunforce is good for. I could theoretically put more than that up there, and given that they're behind low E glass, I'm lucky if I get an amp out of them, to be honest with you. So I'm lucky I get 12 watts, never mind the 30 watts that I should be getting. So anyway, what they do is they keep that battery peaked up, and then if I need light in here at night, I have one of those 100 watt equivalent LED lights. Yeah, I'm doing a good job. You guys could see it up there. It's not very effective with all this crap in front of it, but at night it does kind of help if I'm out here and I gotta kind of find my way around. So that's one thing. Item number 2. Yesterday it rained all day, so there's a place in Kingston, I don't know, 45 minutes from me, give or take a foot and a half, that's called P&T Surplus. And one never knows what this person is going to have in there. In the olden days, he used to take in IBM computers and take them apart and sell the metal from IBM computers. I mean, back when an IBM computer was half the size of my house, or the size of my house. So that's how they got started. Pete and Tim. Tim is still alive. Pete was the great uncle or something, and unfortunately he's passed on. But Tim's still with us, and I go up there about once a month just to see what he's got that's interesting. So I was up there yesterday, and I had to drive the truck through quite a bit of swamp and rain and all that to get it up there. So I figured the roads were clear and washed out, so I gave the truck a bath. So anyway, I hope you're all impressed that the truck's pretty. So I got that done today. While I was in there giving the truck a bath, I gave the frame a bath because I hate working on dirty frames. So there she is. And am I showing you this? Let me put my finger near there. Yeah, there you go. Then you can read it and all that. So it was built to 86. My son was born in July of 86, so it's old. And lastly, I had to, I don't know, are you guys seeing that? Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, I had to buy some JB Weld, and I'll show you what I did with that. While I was up seeing my buddy Tim, this is some of the stuff he had. So I bought these key switches from him. I think I'm showing them to you, right? And they got 3 positions. That's off, on, and start. He sold these for $5 each. They came with the keys. So they picked those up. I don't want the bag along the way. Let me put that in there. Hopefully that keeps it. Let me show you what I did with the JB Weld. I'm back working on this thing. As a matter of fact, I cut the rear end loose in the front and over here too. Right? You guys can see it. So I cut it loose on both sides. It's just a matter of getting it out of there, and I'll probably take care of that shortly. But if you remember the engine I'm going to put in here, it's a TRX200SX, hence I showed you the frame. And so that's going to be the motor that gets into this beast. And if you recall, the motor was an eBay deal. I don't recall what I paid for it. I don't know. You guys remember better than I do. Call it $150. Give or take a little. But if you're familiar with the TRX200SX, they're renowned for throwing the chain. And when they throw the chain, they have a tendency to beat up on the case. Oh, I gotta shut off that TV or my friends at YouTube will get upset at me, right? Yeah, they were upset about one of my videos. I got a note from them, you know, basically threatening to throw up and beat me about the head and shoulders for some copyright violation. And I went to the video, and I'm not exactly sure what they were talking about. All I could figure is at one point in the video, I kind of flashed across some technical writing that wasn't even part of the video, and they got like all spun up about the technical writing, and I zoomed in and everything else and couldn't even really make sense of what their issue was. But yeah, they're really nervous about their copyright trivia. Anyway, JB Weld, I took equal amounts, put it on here. I like to use a razor blade to mix it. Mixed it up. Then I used this little plastic pipe thing to smear it about. So that's how I put it on. And this is what it looks like. It looks like there was a repair on this side with real welding, like they took the case off and actually used some aluminum weld to fix it. But where the two cases met, where this piece of case and this outside cover met, there was a tiny little gap. So what I did was I filled that in with JB Weld, as you can see, top and bottom, and kind of smeared it about to make sure it was good. I made sure I forced a little bit into the crack. The crack wasn't that big. I mean, I couldn't fit that into it. I mean, this is a Q-tip with the heads cut off. I couldn't even fit that into it. It was that small a crack. So anyway, I put that on. They say it takes somewhere around 24 hours to cure. I'm not going to get back on this thing until probably Saturday. Here's the plan. Get this sealed up. Get oil into it, mount the carburetor, fire it up on the portable CDI box. It's just a matter of hooking to this wire, right? Remember, blue and yellow, hook that to the CDI box. Hook black line, hook that to the CDI box, right? Hook one of the blacks to this green, hook another black right up to the case, and then put the spark plug wire on, turn the box on, and fire it up. In this case I have an electric starter, so it's really easy. And what I want to do is actually put this on the frame outside and start it on the frame. Yeah, I'm kind of moving things around, up and down, and all that kind of stuff. It's very hard to say exactly what you're going to do in advance until you get the pieces fitting in place. So what I got to do is I got to get the rear end out, get the golf cart stripped outside, get the angle iron in, or the unit strut underneath where I think it's going to go, put that underneath it, and see how it looks from a everything going to fit, anything rubbing, any problems, what am I doing with this, on and on. So then comes all that move, kind of the mock-up, so to speak. Then I got to place this in and figure out what's the best way to mount it. Fearless Front, he's just putting a 6.5 Predator through a torque converter, driving the rear end that's already in there, a 1-to-1 ratio. So he's going to have a relatively slow golf cart there, 5 to 10 miles per hour, which isn't bad. He's going to have no reverse, which isn't bad, but to me, I got to have reverse. I'm too old to push things backwards, especially when you put them in a bad place, and I have a tendency to do that. But anyway, he got to the point where he was mocking everything up, and he went to sync the motor so that he can close the seat. And when he went to sync the motor, he realized that the torque converter was going to be rubbing on his on the mount that he fabbed up to put the disc brake on. So one kind of has to kind of put things together a little bit before you take one step forward and have to take 3 steps back, cutting, moving, re-welding, before you fix what you just screwed up. So that's where I am with this. So waiting epoxy to dry and cutting things up, and there we go. I'm trying to get back on the more or less a video a day format, and the reason why I like to do that is it keeps me a lot more organized. And I don't like to get too far ahead, because if I get too far ahead, then it's like yesterday I was out driving about, but I wasn't smart enough to bring the frame or think about getting the JB Weld, so I had to run out this morning and do that. While I was out fooling around up Kingston Way, I could have stopped and washed the truck. I could have washed the frame. I could have bought JB Weld. Then rather than spend an hour or two this morning doing such things, I could have put it into yesterday. Instead, yesterday was a rainy day, and I basically lost the whole day. So I like being a little better organized than that. Developing a driveway horde here. As you guys saw from the videos, I got everything running. This one runs, but when you put it in gear, it's got that banging sound. So I'm not sure what it is. I gotta swap out the rear end and then go forward on that again. Once I swap the rear end out, I'll see what's cooking there. You can see I have a rear end sitting there, and there's one sitting here. Unfortunately for the one sitting here, the person had trouble getting it out, and they actually had to cut that off. So this one doesn't bother me too much. I can put a bolt on the far side. This one, them having to cut it, makes me a little less happy. Means it's probably seized. I've tried taking these apart and spraying them and getting them apart. It really doesn't work well, because they tend to use a bolt that's too long. So picture a bolt sticking out. This is the the threaded part of the bolt sticking out from the nut here. Call that the nut. So picture this sticking out. Well, this part sticks into the brake drum region, and any water that gets in here, and over 30 years, especially when you're battered like this, water has a tendency to get in here, makes the threads rust. And then now you're trying to back it out of here, and typically what you do is the nut is welded on here, welded onto the back of this, and typically as you're trying to back it off, you end up spinning the nut. I mean, then you could cut the bolt off, so to speak, and take it apart, but now you got to get it completely apart and weld the nut back on. And I don't know how much experience you guys have. These are a real, excuse my language, bitch to take apart. I've sprayed them, I've tried all kinds of stuff, and on some I have some success, and others they just don't want to come apart for love nor money. Right? They're just rough. All right, folks. I want to thank you for watching and commenting and subscribing. Sorry, 231 Flash. It was a long video. You're probably already napping, but I see you got to your 200 subscribers. Good show. Guys, keep subbing them if you haven't already. And also go visit my other buddies, you know, You Dizzy and Musty One and, you know, Volkswagen Darren, and go visit the whole crew. Oh God, the complaining cat. You know, Bill Staton, Marcel. I mean, you know the crew. We all watch each other's videos. Yeah, go out and watch videos. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you for watching and commenting and subscribing, and we'll catch you all soon. Bye now.